Okay, we are live again. Today is the 1st of February 2021, which means it's a special day. It's the month of the gods, and we are hoping to celebrate the day of the god very soon. And I hope that you are ready to celebrate the vast day. However, don't forget that there is still COVID-19, so you need to protect yourself. Welcome to your talk show. This is your talk show on League of African Defense. And as usual, we always have an exciting topic to discuss with you, to share with you. And this topic is not just that we would like to share it, but it's something that you need in your daily lives as an African. Not only as an African, but if you are a citizen of the world. Welcome, Mr. Erasmus.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you are joining us, I am Joachim Kwenu. Today, to be in a form of a debate, we are going to discuss about taxation for development, the road for all workers' inclusion. Taxation has been something that people have been saying a lot of negative things about. When we posted this topic, someone said that taxation is theft. Others were like, it's wrong for the government to be taxing the poor. The government should rather tax the rich. And in America, we know that the rich people are somehow not taxed much. So it reached to a point where Bill Gates was even saying that the rich should be taxed a lot. And taxation has always been a topic that the community, a government, and a continent we are always talking about. So without much ado, Erasmus, I would like you to introduce yourself small to our public before we kick the ball.
Okay, thank you so much, Joachim. My name is Erasmus Ablena, and for everyone who has been following us, I think I'm a familiar face here. I've been here almost every time. I'm a master's student of business management in the University of Orléans in France. I'm a Ghanaian, by the way. And I'm a student of, when I say student, I mean I study issues of politics, economics, history, geography, anything that has to do with development. And I'm an African at heart. So yes, that's just a little about me.
An African at heart.
Yeah.
That's good. For me, I'm a Ghanaian at heart and
Okay.
African by God's creation. So someone may say that you didn't choose to be born where you find yourself. Well, I'm telling you that that's where God chose to send me. So I have to accept it. Precisely in Ghana, one of the best countries in the world, of course. So me too, I'm a student just as Erasmus. And one of our projects that we've taken upon ourselves to be doing each week is to bring to you matters arising in the world, and your talk show is part of them. And today, taxation is also one of the essential things that we'll be discussing with you. And it will be in a form of a debate. So welcome once again for joining us. And if you are joining us, don't forget to share it. Make sure that someone to join this program because it will help you, it will help them. Share what you are watching now and like. Make sure you also click on the bell button so that when we go live, you know that we are live. Erasmus, let's start. Taxation for development, the road for all workers. Now, I have a question for you. Today, to be in a form of debate, and I know that you are ready for it. I have a question for you. You've been saying taxation, taxation, taxation. Can you brief us about taxation? Someone, Fidel, says that she wants to know much about taxation. She has been hearing about um, she has been hearing about two ways of taxation. Can you tell us something about taxation?
Okay, so the the idea of taxation has been there as long as so many hundred years ago, and the idea is that everyone should contribute to the development of the economy or the society in which they live. So if you're a worker, by virtue of the fact that you earn a salary, a certain percentage is taken from your salary as your own contribution to the development of your country, and that is what we term as a direct tax. So in this sense, you are an adult, you are of working age, and you are working, and so you should pay tax no matter where you are working, no matter what activity you've engaged in. The second form of tax, which almost everyone pays, that is from anyone at all who has money in their hands and who buys food or buy any other form of thing, pays, is called the VAT. VAT is simply value added tax. So that form of tax is used also by the government. And the one who pays or who bears the cost or who bears that tax, sorry, is the final consumer. So if I produce, let's say, a pencil and I sell the pencil to you, Joachim, and there is VAT on the tax, you are the one who pays the VAT and not me, the producer. So that's form of tax. There are also other types of taxes depending on the country. Some have the billionaires tax. Some have the um, tax for people who have hit a certain ceiling in society. Tax for in Ghana, for instance, we have tax for luxury vehicles. So that if you import a vehicle above a certain limit price, then you pay a certain amount of tax on that vehicle. The whole concept of this kind of tax is to reduce the inequality between the rich and the poor so that we don't have a huge gap to fill between the richest people and the poorest people in society. But then it has to be mentioned that the whole idea of taxation is to foster development in the country, and that is the government's number one source of revenue for running its policies and development agenda. That's the little I can say about taxation.
Okay, thank you very much, Erasmus, for briefing us on this taxation issues. And I know that if you are watching, you now understand what taxation is and whether you've been paying your tax or not. So,
Mm.
yes, this is what taxation is about. And Erasmus has said much. Make sure, I believe you know that now we have what we term as formal and informal way of taxation. And he has given us the informal way, which is somehow termed as the VAT that you've been paying on your goods. Everything that you buy, that is VAT, and you've been paying it informally. And we have the taxation the formal way, which a lot of people don't want to pay, which is the main reason why we are doing this program. Now, Erasmus,
Mhm.
this is where the debate starts. So the debate is, if you are watching, make sure you read what's on the screen. It says taxing the so-called informal sector in Ghana, precisely. I know that it's not only about Ghana, it reaches everywhere, every country. The person who said that taxation is theft, he is an American. I mean, and he also follows League of African Defense and your talk show very much. He said that taxation is theft. And now you are saying that taxing the so-called informal sector in Ghana. Is it realistic? Because Ghana would like to tax every sector.
Okay, I think it looks unrealistic on the surface, but it is attainable, and it is only attainable if we take steps, processes, very intentional steps to achieve those aims. Now, let me break down the informal sector what we term as informal sector when we talk about Ghana. Any type of sector that doesn't include receiving pay through the banks, Sort
Mm-hmm.
of is the informal sector. So somebody who works in an embassy, in a bank, as in a civil service, in a company where they are able to collect their monies through the payroll system, uh, are termed as, that is what we generally see as the formal sector. And then we kind of see those in the informal sector as people like streets hawkers, markets, women drivers, tractor drivers, I mean, um, farmers, fishermen, people who do these kind of jobs and then they are paid on the table or they
Those in
pay
the
themselves.
informal sector, people like streets.
So they are usually called the informal sector. And then we are saying that is it possible or is it realistic to say that we can tax all of them? First of all, I have to start by saying that it is realistic. It is realistic. It is attainable. We can tax all of them because Ghana needs a lot of revenue from all our workers. We are about 30 million people in Ghana, and a recent um, data I saw shows that only 1.5 million people pay taxes. That is less than 1%. That is less than 1% of the entire population of the country. How do we expect our country to move ahead with this kind of data? And so we really need to find ways and means to tax the informal sector. And I believe that it is realistic. And maybe as we move ahead, maybe we can delve into more how I think it's realistic.
Oh, okay. So you think it's realistic.
Yeah.
And thank you for explaining to our public those that we call the formal sector and those that are informal sector. Now, it being realistic, what are some of the measures that you think we can put in place? Because some majority are saying that it's not realistic. A lot
Mm,
of these informal sectors are not educated, and these are the people who are somehow not contributing to the taxation of the country. And
mm,
they are the same people saying that they need development, they want their roads fixed, and it's difficult for the government to tax them. The same people will again say that the tomatoes that I'm buying, that biscuit I'm buying from the store, I've already paid my tax because the government took some tax for me. So how realistic do you think it is? Like, in your opinion, what is
Well,
the biggest challenge that the tax system in Ghana? What is the biggest challenge? Let me type it. Okay.
so
Yeah.
our biggest challenge is not illiteracy because you don't need to go to school to be taxed. Our biggest challenge is a system that works, a tax system that works. And our biggest challenge also is that the way business is conducted in our country, where we use a lot of cash and we don't, our banking system is not so much effective, whereby everyone has a bank account in Ghana, is our biggest challenge so far because taxation best works through the banks before the money hits once the money hits the bank you're able to take your money from it or the person's bookkeeping and all that so you're able to tell what goes in and out of the person's accounts and the person's business. So I think one of our biggest challenges is our banking system. Two, the way we conduct business in our financial sector, with money being so visible and not cashless. That is our biggest challenge. But I think that one thing we can do, the biggest thing we can do right now, is to
Mhm.
industrialize our society, our economy. What do I mean by that? We have a lot of people who do these menial jobs just to feed themselves. If they had any job that was employing them, they would quickly go and get employed, and those jobs can, give them income. People like maids, people who sell toffees and chewing gums on the road, by the roadside, people who clean gutters and beg drivers for money, and all those people. I bet you if we are able to industrialize our economy in areas that are important, for instance, if we establish a very good pineapple factory in Komenda,
Mhm.
And then we tell people that, oh, this factory is hiring, and all you need to do is to have a Ghana card or something, come and register and start working. You'll be trained, and at the end of the month, you will be paid thousand, even thousand Ghana cedis. I tell you, a lot of people will be off the streets. They will be off the hustle they do on the streets and go into the system. By that way, you are attracting a number of people into the tax system, because out of the thousand cities, maybe you get 100 cities or something. If the tax system is 13%, then you get more than 100 cities into your tax uh, um, um, basket, if there is anything like that. So industrialization is key. Once you industrialize the country, people tend to work more in these industrialized areas. They don't start doing small jobs to to put food on the table anymore. They go into these employments and they're able to you know to get a very solid and formidable source of income. So industrialization is one key thing. We can maybe talking about how to industrialize the country uh, would be an issue of another day, but just to highlight it a little bit, if I was to industrialize the country, I would first of all take look at the areas like agricultural areas, for instance. That is
Now,
where I would focus on.
okay, these agriculture areas, and we know that it's mostly about this agriculture. I mean, farmers who are not, majority of them are not paying their taxes because
Mm,
in Ghana, you know that it's normally this old traditional form of farming where the government somehow have their records and they have their various associations. Yes, still these people are not paying their taxes. And if you go to the market to these same market women have their market associations that almost all of them they join and the various market to before you will even enter the market you have to pass through some processes before you get them. Now they are the market selling their product, they are not paying taxes. The only thing they know is every day the KMA or the AMA will come around taking some money from them and they know that this is tax. So do
yeah.
you think that bringing agriculture in will help solve this problem and also somehow bringing that development you were talking about industrialization? Because there are many ways that you yourself you
Yeah.
claim that we can solve this issue.
Yeah, the industrialization bit was just to clear the streets. Those who do the kind of jobs that don't provide stable incomes. If you industrialize the economy, you're able to absorb them. But the problem of the market women is a bigger issue that will take a lot of thinking, strategic planning, and implementation and time to be able to get there. If I were to give a roadmap for how this could happen, this is what I would do. Maybe if I am elected as president, or if I'm put in charge of putting across a roadmap for making sure that we absorb the market system into the taxation system. First of all, I will do my best to eliminate cash and make sure that our markets are organized in a way that transactions are done more through the banking system or through a cashless system. I'm not talking about mobile money here, because the problem with mobile money is that if I put my money in my mobile money account, you are not able to tell what part of it is my revenue and what part of it is my profit. But if we sort of round up the banking system to be able to give credits to market women, the thing about credits, as Louis said the last time, is that once before you get access to credits, you would have to show proof of proper bookkeeping. You would need, people who have all that kind of, we can train the market women to have some basic sort of bookkeeping for us to know how much money they spend in procuring their items, and then how much they sell them for, and then what profits they make on it. All this can be done through the banking system. And what we can do too is that in trying to fix the taxing system, we can fix our market system for good. We can build better and smarter markets whereby we are able to account for every market woman or man who sells in the market. And
But
then
I think they already have those systems in place. Look at Kumasi Central Market, where the
mm,
new market that the previous government built. And
mm,
before you even get a place there, you have to pass through the KMAB and before and look at Kaneshi markets, those selling inside the main market. The
mm.
AMA has their records already. So about records, you already have them.
But the challenge is that how many people are able to afford the shops in that market?
Oh, they are.
No. The thing is that most of these market women just go and see. We have what we call the market queens. Okay, they
Yes.
see them and they give them a space and then they operate there. But we do not know how their goods come in and go out. We don't know their turnover. That's what I'm talking about. We
Okay,
have
so
to
what is turnover? If someone
like
watching and the person will
yeah,
ask, what is
yeah, how
uh,
much money you're able to generate at the end of your and business endeavor. So how much you are able to sell, basically. So how much did you buy your fish if you're a fish seller? How much did you sell? Then how much is your profits? Then based on the government policy of taxation, we know if we are taxing 5% of your profit or 10% of your profit. And so that's what I mean by that. We need these kind of systems. It will take time, but if we try our best, we'll be able to get them. One challenge I foresee with this is illiteracy, people not being able to read and write and keep book and all that. But then this is where training and education comes in, and then we can employ fresh high school leavers. You know, we have to be smart about some of these things to train the market women on how to operate an e-switch card, for instance, how to do a quick math of. They already do that, but not in a very organized.
they've been doing it. They've been doing
Yes,
it. I don't know why
yes,
the system, the government in power when
good.
they came on power,
Yeah.
they didn't
So
make noise about it again.
exactly. So what they have to do is to give them a systemized way of calculating their revenues and their how much they are spent, their cost price, their expenditure, and their income and their profits. Then we'll be able to tax them based on that. At the end of the day, you are able to solve number one, the financial system. Number two, you are able to solve taxation as well. So these are the two key solutions I would give to our tax system: industrialization, and secondly, um, making our financial system better, improving our financial system. I think that will help us.
Okay, so now I'm paying my tax. I'm not
Mhm.
seeing development. What do you expect the people to do? Because taxation, as per the topic, taxation for development, the road for all workers inclusion. Now,
Mm.
majority are saying that they are not paying the tax because they think they are not getting the benefit that they are supposed to get, the social amenities that they are supposed to see. They are not getting them. So, how do we ensure this?
In one of my economics classes, I came across a principle that says that people in warmer regions are unable to sort of demand um, accountability in their countries and demand good leadership in their countries because of their climate. I don't believe with this logic at all. What I believe in is that in developing countries, less people pay their taxes. And once you don't feel that you are contributing a lot to the development of the country, then, naturally, you don't feel the obligation to fight for what is your right because you really don't know what is going into the development of the country. But if you were paying tax and you were feeling the pain, for instance, you know how the taxing system here in Europe works, especially in France, where workers pay huge sums of money. And it is not surprising that French people are one of the biggest, I don't know how to put it, the biggest right seekers in the world. Once
Yes,
it
of
comes
course.
anything has to do with rights, you will see the Frenchman fighting for their rights, and that is very evident in the assassination of the Louis the 16th in the 18th century, because they know that I am contributing to the development of this country, and anyone who has the guts to take it for granted has to answer to me. And so
Mhm.
I think taxation rather is a tool that will give more power to the citizens rather than a tool that will make them relax on leadership. So I think the more we pay tax, the more we are able to hold our leaders accountable. We are able to ask them questions. We are able to, to demand that they step down if they have to. We are able to demand that they give us good leadership, kick them out of office, and then we don't allow them to just cheat us. Let me give you an example that you're already aware of. In our elections, members of parliaments and ministers, when they are coming for re-election, they bribe people, they give people money. These people are not aware that this money is money that was gotten from their, maybe their, hard-earned salaries, their cash, because actually they don't pay taxes. They don't feel that they pay taxes. Let me put it that way.
Mhm.
And so they feel that the ministers or the MPs are sharing their own monies, their own hard-earned money, to the populace, which is not the case. The ministers are paid with revenue that is gotten from taxation and all these tolls that they take on the road, all these things. They are paid with our hard-earned money. Now, the more people begin to pay tax, the more they are able to understand that no, I am part of the development process in the country. And so let me ask more questions. And so let me make more demands on my government than to relax and sit back. So I think is one of the solutions to our democracy, if you ask me.
Okay, it's one of the solutions to our democracy, and yes, if you pay your tax, then you have the right to demand for development. And welcome, Louis.
Yay, thank you.
Yes, so
Good.
we are still on it. And Louis, before you come in, and I believe that you already know what we are discussing. Of
Yeah.
course, taxation for development, and Erasmus has said much. He has briefed us about what we are supposed to know about taxation, both the formal and the informal way. And he has also stated the reason why the informal sectors too should make sure that it's part of their budgets, they pay their taxes, and what we can do so that these people will pay. I will ask you that same question. I mean, how we can do to make sure that these informal sectors they pay their taxes. But I think you should answer that one before we come to what Fidelicia is asking. Fidel is asking a certain question here that I've shown. Before we come to that, I would like you to answer this. How can the government, or what can the government do to make sure that the informal sectors pay their taxes? Erasmus said something about the market women not paying their taxes because some don't know how to get records of what they've been selling. So, what do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I think I may agree with Erasmus when he says the market women do not pay because they do not have records of what their wares. That is entirely true. You go to a very typical local market, and the traders cannot account for many of their wares. They don't have proper documentation or proper bookkeeping of their produce. It comes and they tell them maybe a sack is worth 100
And
CDs, and then they decide to sell it, make maybe another 50 Ghana profit on
yes.
but there again, you cannot also determine if it's true or false, you know. But if there is a proper way the tax office can be able to work with them, collaborate with them. Let's take, for example, the vehicle, the transport operators. The tax office know that it cannot be able to determine how much sales they make daily. In that regard, they developed that quarterly tax collection for the vehicle income tax, where they pay an X amount of money every quarter according to per the capacity of your car. So if you are using a taxi, your vehicle income tax is different. We would all agree that there are some taxi drivers who do not make daily sales. So imagine taxing such a taxi driver every day, claiming that every month we want you to bring about 50% or 20% of what you've made. It's mandatory. We would see some difficulties in there, but you give them a certain amount which you think is fair, which you think that in the course of a quarter they should be able to raise that amount of money and come and drop in there. So that is what the tax office can explore and look at how they can work hand in hand with the market women and develop a system where the market women will be encouraged to pay their taxes quarterly according to what they've been able to sell during the period. To add to that, I think it may be entirely unfair to say some of these women do not pay taxes. Maybe what we would want to look at is their personal income tax or taxes on their businesses, because we know that these women pay VAT indirectly. Some people do pay taxes indirectly when they go to the shopping mall, when they buy something from Kojo Menu, and then there is VAT in there. He or she is paying tax, and that is an indirect tax which doesn't come directly from his salary or any business he or she does, but from engaging in an economic activity. So there are some of us who pay tax more than two times. Apart from what comes from our salary, we go to supermarket, whatever we buy, we are paying direct tax. You pay your VAT there, you get your NHIL there, you are paying Get Fund there, everything. So over there, we are also making collection. But the main point is how we can target the informal sectors and be able to drag them into the tax nets so that we can maximize tax collection and then make great efforts. It's just the process where our tax officers would ensure that we have proper data of everyone. So in the municipalities, in the district, the district officers go to the market every day to give them market tool or whatever it is. I don't know the name, but they give tools every day. They could use that process to collect data of market women present in the market.
Mhm.
From there, when we have proper data on them, we can move on from that stage. Let's look at how government is able to collect tax on our salaries. It's because accountants, controller and accountant general has data on every worker in the public sector. So they're able to deduct taxes from source. Without the data, it will be very difficult for everyone for the tax office to do the deduction. So first of all is proper data collection to make sure everyone in the informal sector is captured. Everyone who is supposed to pay is captured in their data collection process. Now, once you've been able to gather that data, the next step is to educate the people. So you do not assume that these people need to know why they are paying taxes. Many people in the informal sector, although they know, do not honor it, and most of them would just conclude and say, whatever we pay, the politicians take it. Although they may be justified in certain areas, we do also understand that taxes go beyond the politician. So the tax office, again, in conjunction with whoever, should be able to educate the people, mostly those in the informal sector. They need to pay those taxes so that whatever development government wants can be achieved. Quite recently, a very funny situation happened in Togo 2 weeks ago. My friend and I were out and we were driving back home, and we saw military personnel all over. I had my mask, on my neck. It wasn't on my covering my face. So I thought they were on some random check, you know, um, taking out people without their masks. But apparently, the military personnel and it was a joint military police team who were out there, and they were looking for people who haven't paid their taxes on vehicle. And when I read about it, the whole point was for us to get good routes. Everyone using any form of vehicle must pay a form of tax. It is from the money we collect that we use to make the good rules for the people. Although there was little education on that, the people, when they realized that apprehension, when the tax office realized the apprehension from the people, they sped up education in there. So within a period, the military presence traumatizing the citizens had gone down because they realized that gradually the people were buying into the agenda of paying their vehicle tax. So when the tax office in various countries are able to do that, they would now bring the people to accept and appreciate the fact that paying taxes is equivalent to uh, realizing your developmental goals in the area, the schools you want, the hospitals you need, the 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 water plant, electricity, all would come from your taxes. Then when we move from there, the tax office again should sit down and draw a plan. Look at the wares, talk to them. On average, in a month, how much do you sell? So give or take, that this woman would make about 200 or 300 CD profit from selling 500 CDs worth of goods. So if you do it in a period for the quarter, how much do you think this woman will do, give or take? Which means it could be more than the 200 CDs, or it could be less than that. But give or take, let's put it that way. And then you say, okay, well, a drum answer, this is what you get. But make sure we see documents, we see proper documentation that declares or that gives you this sort of income or profit at the end of every month. So we can work with that and then move ahead to tax you based on the profit if you've realized. And then it can go from there.
Yes, thank you, Louise. Well, Fidel has asked an interesting question here, which is in relation to what you just said at the latter part. So she says, what about the tax collectors in the municipalities? Could that be effective until we move into an industrialized tax system? We already know that these tax collectors will only come out just like the road police, those policemen who check the road. They only come out when it's getting to Christmas, when it's getting to Easter, when it's getting to festivities. That's where we see them coming around, make sure that they get their festive coins. So what about these tax collectors we already have? Can't we make good use of them? Just as this AMA and KMA have been doing to the market women, that each day they go and collect one CD from them. They will sell some tickets to them. Can't they to play a major role? So Erasmus.
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you, Fidel, for asking that question. I think that system in itself is the reason why we are not seeing improvements in the market taxing structure at the local level, because it doesn't create room for how do we call it, accountability, because you just come and you give a flat rate to everyone. Everyone pays 10 cedis, and then you just take it away, and then nobody knows what happens to the money you've taken. Nobody can even tell how much you've taken. Nobody can tell how much you are using for what and anything. So I think it's a good system, just that it is not being implemented well. If we can find a way to make it work well, then that side of the taxation, then maybe we can get the tax collectors to collect taxes for us. But my difficulty with that particular thing is that then it still goes to enforce the corruption that we see in our societies, because it's still is still controlled by human forces. We want to reduce the the propensity to cheat or to take money from people and then use it anyhow. And so a data system that Lewis talked about is what we can use to make it more effective. So you see, and even the local municipality um, tax collectors, their taxes they collect are not really income taxes. They are just levies, or levies, as people someone may say. They are levies that they collect. The district assembly collects for its own. I don't know what they use it for anyway, but it's meant for developmental
Maintenance,
projects.
someone with the maintenance
Yeah.
of the market areas.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are just levies being collected from market women, just as drivers pay is it a way bill or tolls on the roads?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that is
Road,
exactly what
road, road.
pay. But that is not an income taxes in any way, because you don't know how much Adwa Mansa earns, and the 10 cities you are collecting, you don't know whether you are actually taking the right amount of income tax that you need to have taken from Adwa Mansa. So that system itself is flawed. Maybe what we can do is to make it work better, and that is why we are all suggesting these solutions we are suggesting. And so I think that system is not bad, but then it won't be a very effective system for collecting or for taking income taxes. I don't see any, I don't
Yeah.
know about this, but I don't see any way in there.
So, Louis, Richie says we should decentralize the tax system.
Yeah, that is true. If we're able to decentralize them, I think it's decentralization basically is just about let's look at our government system where we're able to have district assembly elections and what have you, bringing government closer to the people. So if Richie, thanks for this wonderful point, Richie. By decentralizing the system, we are cutting so many administrative hurdles at the top, bringing it down to the people. So when you ask Kojo Mansa knows that, oh, if I step out of my house, I just walk about 500 meters, I can see a tax office here, and then I declare my tax. They would also realize that the people are readily available to come around. Ask yourself, we are supposed to pay property tax, but how is that enforced in our country? You realize that although we have district assemblies and municipalities and what have you, we haven't properly decentralized it. I live in Ajekojo in Tema, right? I think now we've moved down to Tema West municipality. But before we were under Tema Metropolitan Assembly, right? And I remember like 3 years ago, that was when someone from the district, the municipality, sorry, the is it metropolis, came to ask for property tax, right? But that person was traveled all the way from Tema to come to our area to demand for that. But if we had a zonal office for Ajekojo, definitely, I'm sure every time this person would be on the job, and even the indigenous or with the inhabitants of Ajekojo would readily know, oh, there is a district office here, a zonal office for our taxes, property tax, and what have you, tax filing, and then we can go there. We can also look at adding technology to the system, where
Exactly.
in this day and age, where we can just pick our phones and make the claims. We'll just send it to them, and then it will be captured. We get our receipts, and then it's there. So whoever comes, we able to show to the person that this is our tax for property, and then we've paid, and everyone is free. We'll need that. Let's take for example. Um, we should treat tax as an essential commodity, like the way we treat electricity and water. There are so many electricity ECG outlets for prepaid scattered in so many communities. Why is that so? It is so because everybody needs electricity. And if you're able to play the same card on taxes, we would realize that people have come to understand that when we have the opportunity for people to go and file taxes, there are so many avenues. The tax office is closer to them. Then we can see what we want to see. So the decentralization point made by Richie is excellent, and we can decentralize it by bringing the offices down to the people and introducing technology in there. The decentralization may not necessarily mean bringing the structures down to them. It could be using technology and then making it accessible to everyone. Once it's accessible to everyone, you could be in the United States of America, and then you just file essential taxes like property tax, and you are gone.
Yeah, what you are saying is very true. That if you're able to make good use of the technology, and nowadays, even those who have never been, those we claim to be illiterate, are able to use mobile money to buy their electricity bills and also their water bills. So it's all about education, educating them on our television. Of course, this media system, and it will work. It will definitely work if you're able to do that. And thanks to the national identification that we've done, I mean, the national identity card that we've done, I believe that we have the records of all the working age. And with this, we will be able to trace them. We also have their contacts. And if someone is going to get a SIM card, they say the person should bring this card. So you have all these records, which are very good. Now, Erasmus, how do we deal with corruption and embezzlement in this system?
That's a very huge question. How do we do that? I think through proper bookkeeping and technology. For instance, if we the very first thing that came to my mind, especially in the informal sector, is the kilo system. You know, in Ghana, we don't sell things using kilos. You don't go
We
and buy
used, we
tomatoes
used,
using
we
kilos.
used tomatoes, and even
Yeah,
that one, someone will they will burn candle and
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
got it.
They just demarcate there, say five cities, two cities, 10 cities. You know, but
yes.
then if we have the kilo system, and then you are able to buy, we know that 10 kilo, 1 kilo of tomatoes costs so and so amount of money. Then
Mm,
whoever is in charge, one thing we can also do in the markets is that before the person brings in their wares or their goods, you are able to measure the kilos, and then you can easily determine how much that person got that good for. And then
mhm,
we can use ticketing system. Where did you get, who is your supplier, where is your ticket, I want to see your tickets. So then the person, whoever is in charge of that particular system in the market, is able to take notes, and then submit all those records to the tax department or whoever is in charge of filing the taxes. And at the end of the day, the same ticketing system is used for the seller. So whoever you sell to, you must produce a ticket to the person, so that at the end of the day, we go through your tickets, and then we are able to find out that, oh, you bought this box of tomatoes for 100 cedis. At the end of the day, you sold it for 150 cedis. Your expenditure, you paid for your tent where you are selling, you paid the person who brought in, you spent about 50 cedis out of all this. So your cost price is 105 cedis, 150 cedis, sorry. So then your profit is 45 cedis. Now we are supposed to tax this profit 10%, and then get it as our income tax. So out of 45 cedis, you pay 4 cedis, 50 pesos. We take it from you, and then we move on to the next person. You know, with all these systems, we are able to know how much tax goes into the system. And these things are recorded not using pen and paper, but using computers. And then there is a database where everyone can just have access to, and then know that, oh, this is the tax returns of so and so markets and so and so months. You know, that kind of system. It will be very difficult to implement. I admit the implementation will be hectic. It will face a lot of opposition from people who have hurdles, especially because of the illiteracy that we see in our informal sector and all. But then, if we are very consistent with our efforts and we want to make it work, we can surely make it work. Uh, and so that is one step: technology and then proper bookkeeping. It will really help us to keep these things alive. Yeah. So that is my solution to corruption.
Okay, Louis, what about you? What do you have to say about this?
On corruption, we need proper auditing. We
Auditing.
need we need proper auditing. We need to know, um, for the formal sector, it's easy to trace and track. Even with the formal sector, it has its own challenges, especially when you have the ghost names and what have you in there. But when we go to the informal sector, we need proper auditing. Proper auditing, very trained people who would be able to audit the words of the people. I mean, in our country, we've tried to use some innovative means to capture some markets. I'm sure you realize that the introduction of the tax stamp on drinks, you
Yes,
know,
yes,
you
yeah, that
know,
one. Yeah, and it's
yeah,
helping a lot.
yeah, you
Almost
know,
all products, I
yeah,
mean, almost all products, we have the
Yeah.
tax
yeah,
stamp. It.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
And
In
people
fact,
Yeah.
too, people were educated about this. So when someone buys, I remember back in Accra,
yeah,
imitation. Someone went to buy a certain, I think, Voltic or so, and the lady, I was telling the lady was saying, "Where is the stamp that
yeah,
indicates that it's certified, FDA
yeah,
certified?" Where is
yeah.
this shows that people are taking these things into consideration, but there are fake ones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They are fake ones. They are fake ones, and that is where technology comes in.
Um,
The thieves, the corrupt people will stop at nothing to get what they want from the system. So government introduced this system to go a step ahead of the thieves. That is why government introduced this innovative way of tracking down what comes in the country as far as drinks are concerned and how many a shop ordered. So to be able to properly uh, track the system down and audit, that government knows that Guinness Ghana breweries delivered 5,000 tons of drinks to Melcom. So they know if that 5,000, government is expected to get 5 million. Government knows that Melcom sold the 5,000. Melcom uh, um, didn't sell 5,000, it declared 3,000, you know, and then it hides the 2,000 somewhere. It goes into their pocket. When government has those records, the government will be able to say, "Oh well, this is it. These are the stamps in there, and this is how come we're able to do that." But like you said, there are the illegal people who would do the fake ones, just to melange the system, and then they would get their benefits. So again, it's up to government to look for ways of dealing with those people, and then they will be able to move on. Again, moving back to what I was talking on the auditing, it's only auditing that would help us know how much Adramansa had during the period, how much he was able to discharge, and what is left. So when we have all these records, and when we visit Adramansa, Oh, when we came to Adra Mansa on 1st February, she had 20 sacks of tomatoes. At the
Mm-hmm.
end of at the end of the month, Adra Mansa was able to clear um, 50. No, Adra Mansa was able to clear 5 bags. And it shows. All we've been able to give her receipts, that she issues receipts, and everything shows. So when Adra Mansa hands over the receipts, and our people, the tax collectors, audit, they'll say, "Oh yeah, Adra Mansa, it's true. Whatever you have there corresponds to the audit from the beginning to what we have now." So Adra Mansa passes the test. If we're able to do that, we'll check the corruption. Now, we should have teams, we should have people who would cross carpet, and then they will also come and perform the same activity. So when you see team B to Adra Mansa, then you go and look for team Z to go back to Adra Mansa and see if what team B did is accurate, and then we move on. It's it's a very intensive sector. Tax collection is an intensive sector which needs more money pumping in there, because the benefits from that side is enormous. If you don't spend more in that sector, you won't get more. Read about Louis XIV. So Louis XIV, the Roi Soleil. Look at his tax intervention in France, and most of France's successes are attributed to him, largely because of his innovation within
Yeah.
the he spent more, and he made sure um, the society then, the empire then, gain a lot from the tax system. It's not The tax system is not something for you to go and sleep on. If you spend more money there, the rewards are enormous.
Yeah, the rewards are enormous, and Australia is spending a lot in their tax system, and they are taking a lot of tax. Australia, you pay a lot when you are talking about tax, and here
A
in
lot,
France,
lot.
you pay your tax, but you have the opportunity to question what your tax is being used for. You'll be here, and the car will be washing the streets. It will be, I mean, they are washing the streets almost every week. They are cleaning the place. If there is a pothole, it must be fixed every day. The Zoom Lion, let me use the word Zoom Lion too. I, I'm trying to promote Zoom Lion's monopoly. No, let's the, that's those who clean the streets are doing their work daily, and it's helping a lot. The people are paying their taxes, and they are seeing they've seen that their taxes are being used for something good. So Ghanaians, we should pay the tax. But look, you know that in Ghana we know the number of markets we have. So this number of markets that we have, which we know, can't we just share like we just share these tax collectors there? And Louis, rightly what you said, we have the person who will be there. Then after when the person is gone, we have another person who will do a follow up and check whether the what he did was right or not. It may be true that we have a lot of stores around that it will be difficult working every day to know whether this store has paid his or her tax. But at least we know that these market women, they are not moving. If the tax collector is coming, they should run. But now we have a tax collector stationed at these markets. We can make good use of our NAPCO. We can make good use of our NSS personnel. They go there. NSS personnel will even work better than those who have been employed, because those who have been employed could embezzle. They will just give out a fake ticket. But if we digitize it, that when they go, they just scan the what do you call it, code bar. Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
that would be code bar in English. Barcode.
The barcode.
barcode.
Yes.
Aye.
They just scan them, then they will know that this is the amount of money this person made, and this is the amount of money that this person collected, and it will just go straight. Even the person should not collect it cash. It will just go mobile money, ping, ping, ping.
Yeah.
It goes.
I think that that will be a short to middle term solution. The longer term solution would be to eradicate cash in our
Mhm.
society and organize our retail sector in a way that people are able to function using more computers and scanners. So that if I go to a local shop and I buy every product, they scan the products and then the price shows on the computer screen, just like when you go to a shopping mall, you get it,
Yeah,
okay? Then the it prints out a receipt for you, and then it goes into the company's whatever system they have. So when the person comes, the person just goes straight to that system, scans the code, and quickly algorithms just appear, and the person knows how much you were able to make for the month, and then quickly you are tasked. So that is a more longer term approach. It may take time, but then I think that if government is thinking along these lines, it will help, and it will also help us fix our economy in many ways. It would make our economy more dynamic, and people will get to do business. They will get to know more. How do we call it? They will get to sort of monitor their businesses better to know whether they are making gains or they are making profits. It will be a better way to organize their businesses. So I think that will be the longer term approach. Um, Using technology in our shopping and all that.
yes, thank you very much, Erasmus. Louis, we thank you very much. And we thank Fidelicia, Nat Bongo, Richie, Comfort, everybody for joining us. And as usual, this is your talk show. You just make sure that you share. Don't just only like. You see, I don't know. If you like it, it's like, yes, I've liked it. You are taking it for yourself. Make sure you share it so that someone too will gain something. Someone will benefit from this wisdom we are sharing. And this wisdom is free of charge. We are not charging you. This is an academia work we are sharing outside there. Uh, you haven't paid anything. So make sure you give it to others too. And we need to spend much. That one there is conk. Louis has said it. We need to spend much. We are spending much in our how do you call it? Metro mass. Metro mass itself.
Metro Math.
Spending a lot in that sector, but that sector is a failure. It's not. It's only that's long journey. In terms of long journey, it's successful, but to eliminate or to
Intra-city.
Intra-city, yeah.
ah, it's not possible. So they instead of investing there, they can rather focus on investing in the taxation side. Then later on, when they're able to make money, fix roads, uh, if they're able to put some measures down that the road system will be good so that these buses, metro mass buses that will be playing a role of throttle, when they are going, there won't be any car to block them. Then the country will be a successful country that I would love to be in. And I would always love to be in Ghana, of course, because of the summer in Ghana. There is always summer. So any last words, Erasmus, before we end here?
Yes, I thank you for the opportunity to share these ideas. I want to say that for us to be able to solve this thing long term, we have to think of killing two birds with one stone. And the surest means of doing that is number one, through industrialization, so that we can soak up all the people on the streets trying to hawk various items to make a living off the streets. We can get them through industrialization. The second thing is to include technology in retail sector. When I say retail sector, I mean the various shops we have in our communities and in our areas of where we live, in our markets too. If we can try and inculcate technology and all the measures we've suggested, then we can actually one, help diversify our economy, and then reduce unemployment, and then two, get more in the country. So yes, it's a mass needed uh, uh, spending we have to do. We have to spend, uh, and it is sure that we would recuperate whatever we have spent in the future. So that is what I want to end with.
Louis,
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Joaquin. Taxes are very important. We can't do away without them. They are the reason we have schools. They are the reason we have hospitals. They are the reason for most of the things government provides for us. And so it's important that we encourage everyone that the person engages in direct tax. A lot of people do indirect taxing, but we want more of the direct taxes because that is where we can get more money and then execute very strategic projects for our country. More than 60 years on, we should be able to do something great for ourselves. We should be able to improve our livelihood. We should be able to create more jobs for people so that the taxes our tax your tax is your development. I think that's what the slogan from GRA or something like that. Your tax is your development. So people will get to know that the tax is the development. If I'm paying 10,000 CDs every year, my tax declaration, I should hope that in my community I should at least have a health center. You know,
mhm,
now that government is saying COVID test is free in all public health facility. If I'm paying tax and I don't have any public health facility in my neighborhood or in my community, how am I going to be a direct beneficiary of this policy?
and you are dead.
Yeah, I'm dead. So yeah, we whilst we pay our taxes, the taxes are development, so we should encourage everyone to pay the tax, and government should also do its part of the bargain to make sure that the taxes people pay do not end up in the hands of corrupt officials, but go to the right source, the consolidated fund, and then they are dispersed to the prioritized areas in our country so that everyone will benefit from its use.
Okay. Thank you guys for always honoring our invitation to be on this talk show. And yes, if we pay our taxes, we will be able to question the government about the 88 hospitals he promised to build. So, government, we are also waiting upon you to tell us what you've done so far, where you've reached, what you've achieved concerning the 88 hospitals. So, thank you, and make sure you join us this same time, 8 o'clock p.m. Monday next week. This is your talk show on League of African Defense. Bye.